Buddhism, I had to find a teacher. Now, how do you find a genuine teacher? You know, like teachers are dime a dozen, so to speak. I am one, right? But a real teacher, a real authentic teacher is much harder to find. Who do you trust? So I went to, I looked around. Leonard Cohen, a famous Canadian singer, songwriter, and poet, most importantly a poet, decided to study with a Japanese Zen master. So I figured if a man of such intellect and power decides to choose a teacher, you know, he can't go wrong. You know, he's the best brain in the country. So I'll follow him. So I did. I went to Vancouver and I met with some of his fellow students. By that time, he moved down to Los Angeles to study with Roshi Sasaki. Yoshi Sasaki is a Zen master based in the United States. He has several centers, but mostly in Los Angeles and Mount Baldy, California. Okay, so there I found a teacher that I could trust, and I studied with him, and I studied with him for many years. You know, by now he's 103 years old. Wow. He's still going strong. He's still teaching, and you know, I think he's the real McCoy. You know that expression, the real McCoy. He's the real thing. You know, he's a genuine article. So I found the teacher, I learned the language, and it was time to go to Asia, right? I didn't know where I was going to go, but I ended up in Taiwan, just like Clinton. I looked around in other countries, Japan and other places, and I decided to settle in Taiwan because it was the most accommodating. In other words, the people were nice and the prices were good. You know, Japan, I love Japan too, but the prices are too high. You feel comfortable in it. So Taiwan was perfect, except for the stale air, which you know, hopefully we can clean up. As we have cleaned up everything else, I mean, you know, Taiwan is a normal country, you know, in terms of security and cleanliness and economy and friendliness and good food. You know, it's the perfect country. You know, you can ask any of the Waigoren who live here, and they don't want to go home. They're starting to say that this is home. They're starting to say that I am Taiwanese. Yes. Right? You are. Right. No, I mean, you know, each one of these guys, if you scratch him a little bit, you will find him to be more Taiwanese than the Taiwanese. Okay, so continuing in my list of dreams, I wanted to find peace between the Soviet Union and the Western world. Wow. That was my dream. Well, you know, I'm checking them off. Accomplished. You know. I wanted to travel around the world. You know, I did twice. Wow. Round the trip tickets are not that expensive.
That's right. That's right.
You know, $2,000-3,000. You know, will get you around the world for 1 year, and you stop off at different places.
That's right.
You know, don't think small, think big.
Yes.
You can do it. You know, because dreams do come true. How? You turn them into plans. Make a plan and save up for it. You know, it took me, what, from the age of 10 to the age of 50, 40 years before I went to Darjeeling and fulfilled my dream of visiting, you know, this famous Hungarian who is buried there, and he has a tombstone which is maintained by the Indian government in perpetuity for his contribution. They will look after his grave forever. That's how much they respect him. Right? I think in Japan he was given sainthood by the Buddhists, but the Japanese Buddhists have elevated this man, this translator, traveler. They've elevated him to sainthood, so he's considered a saint of the Buddhist faith, right? I wanted to marry well. That's important. And there's my wife. You know, look at her face, and you can. Well, you should have seen her frown before. I wanted to stay healthy. You know, there's nothing glorious about being rich and sick, right? When you get old, you know. I wanted to buy a boat, a sailboat, you know, a yacht. Yeah. I wanted to buy a cottage, you know, part of the dream, you know, a lifetime dream. A cottage with a garden so I can grow flowers. Accomplished. They've all been accomplished. My future dream is to be enlightened, self-realization. But you know, I have the vehicle. I have a good life. You know, I'm one of the teachings of Buddhism is that you should choose the right livelihood. Now, teaching or being a doctor, you know, is one of the best ways to live a useful life in the world. Right? So, I did it. Now, why am I not more happy? You know, because you know, like I've done all these things. My dreams have been realized. So why am I not bursting with energy and goodwill and happiness like Clinton is? You know, Clinton is outdoing us all in terms of energy and goodwill to his fellow man. You know. And then I thought about it. Andrew and we took a course in a self-training, you know, part of a self-realization program. And then they told us that be careful, or not be careful, but pay attention. When you have accomplished your goal, you will feel a certain sense of letdown. Like you've accomplished your goal. Yeah. So those of you who will reach your dreams, who will accomplish what you've accomplished, right? Be prepared that after a certain period of euphoria, you will feel a sense of loss. You know. That is normal. That is natural. That is part of the process.
It's like loss of virginity.
Loss of maybe. But anyway, so you know, if you feel, you know, after you've won the Nobel Prize, right? You know, you're happy, and then a reporter comes and says, "What is your next project?" Yeah. And then you say, "Well, let me enjoy the moment." And the reporter says, you know, if he's sharp, he says, "The moment is gone." So don't hang on to anything, including your success. There's a lot more work to do. Why? Because, you know, until you get enlightened, you know, you will have a lot more work to do. And when you get enlightened, you will have more work to do because you will have to teach. You know, so it's never